Hey, hello everybody, welcome back to one more Clancy Division 2 video. In today's video we're gonna be talking about my LMG PvP build. I'm gonna show you guys what I've been working on. I've been trying to put this build together for a long time. I finally think I got it on the point where I like it, and I'm finally able to show you guys, because I don't like to show you guys build too much not finished. It's still always place to improvements. You guys can leave your suggestions in the comment section below. I do appreciate. But so far this is what I've been using on skirmish, and to be honest with you, I do like it the way it is right now. So before I break down the build for you guys, I want to show you guys what specialization I use. So there's two options in here, the sharpshooter and the demolitionist. So the sharpshooter actually is what I use for most of my PvP builds, to be honest with you, and there's a good reasons for that. There is that 25% increase on the headshot damage, there is the 30% increase on the reload speed, which is actually very good for the LMG. Also, there is a 30% increased weapon stability, reduced recoil, and faster reacquisition of targets. So there is good reasons to use the sharpshooter, but I'm giving it a chance to use the demolitionist on this build because of that 15% on the LMG increased damage. You can definitely use the sharpshooter, especially if you are on PC. Like I said, I use that on most of all of my PvP builds. I'm just giving a chance for the demolitionist on this one because of that 15% on weapon damage, but I'm gonna leave it to you guys to choose between both. So the purpose of this build is gonna be, of course, PvP, so I'm trying to put as much damage as I can to eliminate my enemies faster. So for this, what I trying to do is having two patriots to get that 10% on damage to armor, which, by the way, I was kind of skeptical about this because people were saying it was working and some people were saying it was not working on PvP. So I've been doing my test. That's why I said it took me a while to make this build, because I've been trying to make it work. It was not working for a long time. I think I got it to a point where I like it now, maybe because the way I have it set up now. So I'm using two pieces of the Patriot sets to give me that 10% damage to armor, and also there is three other things in here that's gonna give me damage. So let's start off with the chest piece. So the chest piece, I'm using the Ferris Group AB, and for a reason. Even though it gives you that 10% assault rifle damage, it's not the reason we're using this. We do not need that, but we do need the two talents that the only Ferris Group AB will give you, right? So that's the reason I'm using this chest piece. So what you're looking for, the two talents, is going to be the Unstoppable Force with also Hardener. Why? Because they both work together very well. Unstoppable Force, killing enemy, grants 2% weapon damage for every 10,000 max armor. So for that reason, having Hardener, the 10% armor is going to increase your armor total, which is going to give you a lot more armor to make more damage. And on this chest piece, I'm going to have the attributes 2 blues and 1 yellow, which is going to be bonus armor and health, and then a skill power. So on this build, I'm trying to achieve at least 7 yellows, at least 7 blues, and on the red, actually it doesn't matter on this specific build. So yeah, whatever you have on red, that's good for you, but at least you have to have the 7 yellow and 7 blue attributes. The reason why you want to have a minimum of at least 7 blues attributes on this build is to unlock Unstoppable Force, as mentioned, and the 7 yellows is to unlock the talent on the mask and the backpack. But let's start off with the mask. So the talent on the mask, the special talent of this build, is going to be Spotter. 10% weapon damage to pulsed enemies. This is a talent that is been in the game for a while, but not a lot of people have been using it. And now it started popping off a lot more on builds, and I did want to try this build for a long time because pulse was something that we all loved in Division 1, so why not try to bring it back, right? Now on the mask, the brand setting here is not exactly what I want. I wish if I could have this Murakami Industries because of that 8% health that will increase on my build overall, but I cannot have it for the fact that this one has blue and red, while the one that I have right now has 2 yellows, and I need that yellow to unlock my talent spotter on my build. Now, as I said, spotter, when I pulse an enemy, I'll get that 10% weapon damage, but that's not the only damage that I get by using a skill in this build. The second one is gonna be from the backpack. It's gonna come from the talent on the rope. So before we're talking about on the rope, on this backpack, I'm going with the Gila Guard to give me that 5% total armor on the build to increase my armor even higher, and having that huge amount of armor will have me hitting harder with my unstoppable force. So that's another reason I use Gila Guard. For the attributes, I have 2 blues and 1 yellow, which is bonus armor, health, and skill power. And then talents, I have 2 talents. One is on the rope, we're gonna be talking about in a second, and then we have the second talent is gonna be hardener. Another good talent for this build, that way you have more armor to do more damage and have more survivability, of course. So the talent on the rope, the way it works is by having the 2 of your skills on cooldown, you will get a 25% weapon damage during that cooldown period. So let's say I pulse an enemy. If that pulse go down on cooldown, the enemy will still be pulsed, and after I unlock on the rope, that's gonna be a total of 35% weapon damage total against my enemy. But to be honest with you, these 2 talents, to get that 35% damage against your enemy, it's kind of hard, for the fact that most of the time, let's say I go in a fight, I pulse the enemy, right? When I pulse them, I get that 10% weapon damage, but by the time I fight them, to get that on the rope, your skill gonna have to go on cooldown, all of your skill, and the pulse takes a few seconds to go on cooldown. So either I will be dead or my enemy will be dead. So most of the time I have on the rope against my enemy the easiest, because the pulse, it will go on cooldown for a long time, and activating it and having on the rope with it, it's harder than having just on the rope or just the pulse. And last but not least, let's talk about the holster on this build, and it's gonna be for obvious reasons on the brand set. It's gonna be a pressure of defense to give me that 10% LMG damage on this build. It's kind of a requirement on this build to get more damage. And then attributes, I have 2 yellows and 1 blue. Now for this blue, I have this 6000 health on kill, but this is not what I'm gonna keep in here. I'm gonna have this changed for health, straight up health, to increase my health on the build. So this is one thing that will change on the holster if you have the same holster. Alright, let's move on now for the gun. So of course it's the LMG. In this build, you're gonna have 2 choices for the LMGs. You can either go with the M60, which is my favorite, or you could go with the M249B, which is also an awesome LMG. It will hit hard, it will shoot faster, but per bullet the M60 will have a lot more damage. So the one that I have 30.8k damage per bullet. The RPM is gonna be 575, and then magazine, of course, is gonna be 100 bullets per magazine. Now the reason why I have this much damage per bullet on this build is because of the talent Unhinged. Unhinged gives you 25% weapon damage at the cost of 35 weapon handling. The second talent, I went with the Allegro. In here, I will give you another choice. If you are on console, I know that on console it's kind of harder to control the LMG, so I do recommend, if you could, trying to get optimized in there. Allegro will give you more damage, but let's say you're not hitting any shots, so what's the point of it, right? So optimized will give you plus 15% weapon handling to compensate for that 35% weapon handling that you're losing from Unhinged talent. You will shoot a little bit faster with the Allegro, but you definitely will hit a lot more bullets with optimized. So that's an option that I will leave you guys. I'll give you my opinion. Now it's up to you what you want to choose. Now talking about that secondary is gonna be the lullaby, and this is the level 1. That's why my score is so down. You don't have to worry about your score, but I have the lullaby for only one reason and one reason only. That's last talent, evasive. While equipped, dodging reloads 25% of your current weapon magazine. So most of the time you will see me jumping around, just hiding behind cars and just jumping to reload my gun. This is probably the best secondary talent that you want to have on your secondary weapon, for the fact that you can get that bullet instead of wasting that 5 seconds on reloading. And last but not least, on the skills, this is very important. Of course you want to go with the pulse on this build, because of that's why we have that mask talent on this build. And then the first talent you want to have is gonna be the Kim launcher, and the reason why you can pop multiple Kim launchers or even just one and have it on cooldown. That way you have on the rope activated once the pulse is also activated on cooldown. That's why this both work good together, and that's why I choose these two. Now looking off on the stats, I have all the talents on this build unlocked, of course, and then when you go in here, I have 30.7 weapon damage per bullet on this LMG, 5% critical hit chance, which is not important, by the way. Critical hit chance and damage, I'm not going for that. 65 headshot damage. Scrolling down, we have that minus 35% weapon handling. Like I said, you could improve that by choosing the optimized talent. And then on the all weapon damage bonus, I have a 26% damage increase. That 10% assault rifle is not important. 34% LMG damage on this build, and then that 10% damage to armor. So basically that's it, guys. That's my build. It's been working fine for me. I have a 250 armor. That berserker is gonna hit really hard once I kill my first enemy, and then when I pulse the enemy, having that 10% on top of that with on the rope, I just get insane amount of damage on this build. When was the last time that we saw LMGs dominated in the Division game? So it's always good to have LMGs coming back to the game and hitting this hard and coming back to PvP. So I'm gonna leave the video in here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, hit me with a like. If you have any questions and suggestions, leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.